All right, everybody, welcome to BDST with Toya. I am your book bestie, Toya, and today I am here with the queen of smut herself, Kelly Finley. We're going to talk to her about some of her spicy books because I have some questions and
And I
Kelly's
have some
got
answers.
answers. Yes,
If not, we can at least laugh about it, right?
right, right. I have some questions. I have some questions, but
Okay.
we will start with what got you into writing the smut that we all have grown to love? Like, what was your starting
Oh.
point?
I feel like it was an evolution. I've always liked to write as a kid, et cetera, et cetera. And I had um degrees in like gender, studies and specialized in like female sexuality. And so and
Oh,
at the same time, I'm like an avid fiction reader and blah, 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 blah. And students would come to me back in the day, it feels like forever ago, and like, have you heard about this book called 50 Shades? What do you think about it? Blah, blah, blah. So, anyway, very long story short, when it came to me finally writing, um, at first I edited myself and I worried what will so and so think and that kind of thing. But then the more
mm-hmm.
and more I just started to find my voice, which is definitely a process, the more and more I realized that it was fearless. But when it comes to exploring, sexuality,
Mm-hmm.
sexuality, but also like with my professor hat on, I have very strong feelings, and I like to be humble, but say that they're informed opinions about, research and things like that, that silence surrounding, our intimacy and romantic lives and sexual
Yes,
lives
yes.
only creates shame, and shame is a place of violence. And so it's almost like I wanted to write and speak open, and
And I'm
even
so
in
happy you
like,
do.
exactly. So it's like I'm called to do it, one, because I have fun with it and I am fearless about it, but I also think that some people really need it. They like it when
Mm-hmm.
somebody celebrates sexuality, and yeah. So that's like the very long answer.
And so my introduction to you was, oh my gosh, it was a book. Oh Lord, now I have to find it
Oh, that's okay.
because
Tell me what it
I'm
was, like what happened.
trying to
Tell you what
remember
it
the name of the book. It was a reverse harem.
was. Uh-huh.
There
Tim.
were three people, maybe it was four. Tempt her,
Okay.
yes.
Yes, she was married to the evil senator. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
So when I got into that book, first of all, I was billionaire romance girl like all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think I asked somebody, I was like, I need a really good smut book,
Hmm.
like something. And they were just like, oh, have you ever read Kelly Finley? I was like, no, who's Kelly Finley? And they're like, oh, well, you should look into her book. So I read it and I was like, okay, well, she's an auto read author for me now. We're
Oh,
just,
thank
yeah,
you.
top of the list. So I'm like, okay, I'm so excited. I'm like,
Oh, thank you. I mean, there's a part of me that at first was like, it was actually one of my OG readers, just Sweetheart Bree. She called me the Queen of Spice. And I was like, how do I feel about that? Then I was like, you know what? That's an honor. Thank you. Because,
it is.
everybody is writing, different levels that they're comfortable with. And I respect all of that,
Mm-hmm.
100%. Um, and so to be kind of given that moniker, I'm like, wow, okay. And then when you tell me that you were searching and my name was on the tip of someone's tongue, I'm like, oh my God, thank you. Wow,
Well,
that's so
you
cool.
are. So currently, the series that you're writing is Bellas and Bratva. Is that correct?
Belles and Bratva Beast, yeah.
Bells and Bratva Beast. Okay. And so, but there are people who are coming from your other books. So, how do you keep all of the personalities? Because there are so many. Like, how in your head do you keep all of them together to be able to write the next book?
Oh, that's such a great question. One, I probably could do better at it. I know that some authors keep like intricate spreadsheets.
Hmm.
Um, I'm kind of lucky in that I'm able to remember some, but not everything. But I do, there's this great platform that some of my author friends told me about called Milanote. It's like Pinterest on crack, where you can use
Oh.
visuals, but you can also create tables and notes. And long story short, that's how I started to track, my characters. But
Hmm.
honestly, they speak to me, and it's kind of a maddening, crazy process at 4 o'clock in the morning. Um, but that's where I think, well, this is who so and so is, or this is who Nash is, or this is who Sire is, or Ren. They have to kind of talk to me, and then I start writing down all their different characteristics, and I kind of keep them. But I'm waiting for the day, and actually, it's happened to me a couple times where some of my
Oh.
G readers will like call me out and go, "Wait a minute, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, I think you're right. And thank you.
Hmm.
I forgot that so and so was, I don't do it that often. I'm pretty good about it, but it's only going to get worse because more and more books. And I like
So
that being interconnected.
I love that they're interconnected and that like the characters that we've grown to love don't go away. They
Mm,
just sprinkle in the other books and it's just like, oh, this is nice because you're
mhm.
back and I've missed you. And so what have you all been up to lately?
Yeah, yeah, that is fun because you don't want to like. I mean, and maybe there probably will definitely come a day. Obviously, they're not all coming in and out of different books. They'll make cameos
Hmm.
here and there, but there may come a day, there may come a series where it's just completely whatever. But I miss them too. They're my babies, and so I'm like, where are you? And they'll appear in a scene, and I'm like, yay! I love it.
So I have some questions in regards to Sire. But before we get into Sire,
Hmm.
what I've been asked to ask you
Oh,
is where the hell did the idea come from of the Halloween for six and the holiday? Like, I'm like, okay, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of connections happening.
oh yeah.
What, what was that like? Who was talking to you?
Okay. Okay, for a holiday for six, for anyone who's not familiar yet, holiday for six is really my first three couples. All the way back to my OG couple who are Charlie and Daniel when I was writing not as spicy, more romantic suspense. And then
Mm-hmm.
I had Reddix and Cade and Silas and Eiley. And then Silas and Eiley wound up being with Reddix and Cade. So anyway, they were these different, one was a trilogy, one was a duet, and they had a lot of angst, some darker plot elements, some difficult plot elements. And I was in the headspace. I was having some rough stuff with some family things going on. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
what? I need an escape. And I'm like, I'm going to take my characters on an escape. So I took my
Oh,
first six characters on an escape. I'm a Below Deck fan. I don't know if you watch the series, but I love
oh my
Below
God.
Deck, the reality show. I could make, I joke with people that it's Below Deck and Below Deck, but it's holiday for six. And so I put them together. It's completely unapologetically like no plot. It's meant to be a complete escape based on New Year's. And then
Yes.
funny, somebody just is messaging me now, and she's in England loving the book, and I'm like, God, thank you. Um, but people loved it so much that they said, "Hey, we want more of these characters. We want more of the six," is what they started to call them. And so I'm like, "Let's do how." They're like, I'm like, and then of course, holiday Halloween comes up. But by then,
Mm-hmm.
we had even more characters, and I was like, you know what? Forget it. I'm just going to put them all in there. A seven. Toya, I put 17. And honestly, like I can't do it again. It was fun. It was a creative challenge. Writing spice is not easy. It is not easy. It's in fact it's exhausting. People think like, oh, that it's actually an arduous task because you have to keep track of what is where, who is where.
Yes,
You know?
because I find myself having to get out a notepad and a damn pen and start drawing what is happening so that way
Yes.
I have an understanding of
Mm-hmm.
what the hell I'm actually supposed to be
Mm-hmm.
visualizing with it. But I love that though.
Mm-hmm.
And I can only imagine what your search history looks like.
Oh yeah, it's like I don't apologize for my search history. I'm like I will look. I mean, I again like I'm lucky to have cracked a few actual books, like nonfiction research books. I'm not gonna
Hmm.
say I know a few things, and then people look like, "Ooh, do you do that?" I was like, if I did that, I wouldn't have time to write it. Like it's like,
When I went to Wild and Windy Vegas,
uh-huh.
and there was an author there, and she was expressing how she gets to her spicy chapters, like how she writes them out. And she was like, "Yeah, so whatever FBI agent is, assigned to me is watching Pornhub all day long." She was like, "Because I just go to the
Hmm.
site and write everything down." And I was always wondering where are they getting this from?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's only so much Kama Sutra books.
Well, that and I mean, honestly, like what I will do is I have to feel the emotional connection in a scene first.
Hmm.
I want it to try to be creative, like just a good old P&V is
Hmm. Hmm.
great, but it's kind of like you want to give it setting, you want to give it obviously definitely emotion and connect it to the plot. You want it to evolve your characters and their relationships. And so you try to get creative with that and but I will like especially if there's like a height difference,
Hmm.
which often is. Like I have a big pet peeve against the giraffe neck that drives me nuts. And he is 6'3", she is 5'3", and I was like there's no way that they could be, let me just put this without getting coitally aligned, and his mouth is in certain places on her. I'm like, that's not in certain position. And so honestly, like I'm not even looking for whatever. It's like I'm looking for pragmatic, like
Yes.
logistical. But
Please make it sound
yeah.
realistic.
Exactly, exactly. I mean, we don't want, too realistic where she gets a yeast infection, but you do want it to at least you do want it to be plausible, right? And but yeah, I think again, if you're getting to that point where you're writing those stories, you can't have shame about researching and looking stuff up. Like you gotta have to like, figure things out. And obviously some of us have some experiences, but most of it is inspired. It's fiction. So
Right.
yeah.
When you were writing Sire, we're going to jump into them.
Okay.
So with Sire, was there anything when you were writing where it was difficult, where you just were like, you know what, I don't know if I want to put this in the book or not, just kind of
Oh,
questioning.
that's a really good question because there's several themes in Sire that aren't in other books. So one, he's a religious figure, he's a pastor.
Mm-hmm.
So that presents some territory that people may not be comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, as a pastor, it's not a celibacy vow,
Mm-hmm.
but
Correct.
still. So there's, imagery setting that some people might have found taboo. And I mean, for me, it was about being very forthcoming. Like, first of all, that hopefully most people know you're going to get a spicy book if you get me, right?
Right.
And then
Right.
he's the pastor, so kind of figure it out. Like, what do you think
Mm-hmm.
is going to happen? Um, then Ren has been my second FMC of color. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and then my books are based in the South in Charleston. And
Mm-hmm.
one of my biggest things is not romanticizing. Um, and also as a Southerner too, not romanticizing, the history here. And
Right.
actually, it's actually more in Axel, um, taking moments to address that without, how do I say, while still keeping the reader in the story, right?
Right.
And still being authentic. And Ren is, with well, a little spoiler, but we kind of learn it in the beginning that she's an orphan, and so she does not know her origin, but she is a woman of color. And then now she's with Sire, who is a white man and a pastor, and he's 20 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Just layering it on, right? So I tried to give moments
Mm-hmm.
where, race or age or religion and, had its without it owning the story. Does that make any sense?
Right. Yes, it does.
Yeah, because it's a romance. If I were writing women's fiction, it would be different.
Right. Yeah, no, that makes absolute perfect sense. And I think that um, myself, as a woman of color, you did extremely well with writing it. When I was reading it, I was like, huh. Oh, I love this even more now because this is
Mm-hmm.
so, it's different. It's not at all what I thought I was going to get. And
Mm-hmm.
so then when I see the pictures and things like that that you post on your page of what Redwood should look like, I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, she's gorgeous and I love
Yeah,
this. And
I love her. Yeah.
there's such a, right now, there's so many authors who are afraid to
Mm-hmm.
write a woman of color.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're just like, they'll just shy away from it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But yes, you did an amazing job with that.
Thank you. That's an honor. I mean, I understand if an author's like, I'm afraid, because there's this thing that, again, with my little professor hat, the ethic of authenticity. You want to write
Hmm.
what you
Right.
know, and you need to respect what you don't know.
Right.
Um, but first, Rin just spoke to me. I knew the minute, when I met her in my heart that she was, and I guess the technical category is unidentifiable race when you don't
Hmm.
know or you're blended, and you can't,
Hmm.
complicated history of how United States, categories, categorize,
Right.
right? Don't get me started. But I'm like exploring that, territory, and I just always knew that that's how she was going to be. Some other characters will come to me and, um, Ruby, she had epilepsy. I
Hmm.
wanted to explore disability because epilepsy is definitely considered, it should be. It is,
Hmm.
very impactful on your life. Um, so yeah, thank you. I sometimes like, I think the biggest thing for some author, I can't speak, obviously, cannot speak for everyone. First, it has to come from the character, but you can't be afraid of it.
Right.
But they have to be authentic. I would cringe if someone forced it.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean? I would, if someone's like,
Yes.
oh, I feel like I need to diversify, and then I'm like, but do you feel her or him in your heart?
Right.
Because then I'm like, then I feel like you're right. It's almost exploitive.
Hmm.
I feel kind of that same way with, and I have we can get a hole down a whole rabbit hole of, you know, um, within non LGBTQ queer folk writing uh,
Hmm.
those narratives, and or like MM, for example.
Right.
And if you're not MM and you're not gay, it's like, of course, I will write the and I I got really, really torn, but then I talked to a lot, my closest
Hmm.
best, is two best friends are gay. And so they're like, well, write it. It's okay. It's not like, you can't, but I'm
Yes,
like,
exactly.
but you don't
Exactly.
want to exploit it. It's not an easy thing to do, but I think it's important to do, especially if your character is talking to you and you're like, I want to tell her or his or their story.
I really feel like it kind of opens a door to discuss other things when you do write things like that.
Yes. Yes.
Because with MM and FF romances, at first I was just like, okay, wait. I'm always kind of curious to how things happen and how things work because I'm straight. So I just want
Hmm.
to know.
Hmm.
And so then when I read it, I'm like, oh, that's what this is. Or I have my gay friends or my lesbian friends, and I will be like, okay, look, listen, I have questions and you have
Yeah,
answers. So let me ask you, how does this work? And they're
exactly.
just like, it's just, and I'm like, oh, well, thank you for sharing.
Yes, there's the pragmatics of it, right? But there's also, appreciating if you are not, LGBTQIA. It's also like,
Hmm.
the very real fears and, situation. And again, if you come at it from the perspective or the, of race and, and white privilege. And so it's kind of like again, being honest with your character, but also going, hang on, I need to ask, I need to consider, I need to
Right.
get a sensitivity read. But that's my biggest thing is like is that when you know you're not writing of your identity, you really have to be humble and open to listening to people telling you,
Mm-hmm.
and being willing to make that part of your shape that character for you instead of like saying, nope, that's not them. I was like, but you don't know what it's like.
Right.
So yeah.
For you, which character was the most fun to write in Sire?
Oh, and Sire?
Yes,
Oh,
in
by
Sire.
far, Ren. Oh, by far, Ren. I
But that
had
look
so
tells me
much
I need
fun
to
with
ask
her.
the others. Okay.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
by far, she was probably one of my all-time because she doesn't have a filter. She has this hell of a background. She's so strong and young. Um, she's a lot of contradictions, and I loved that about her. You know, it,
yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
so there was just so many things, but probably the thing that I loved the most was her fearlessness.
And
And
she definitely
yeah.
was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. She couldn't afford to be afraid, or she would not have survived when you learn some of her story. And so
Mm-hmm.
um I just loved writing that. And then her taking on these big, all these mafia-esque guys.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh crap. They got her wrapped, she's got them wrapped around her fingers. So I love it.
So, of the ones that you've written so far in the series, which one is your favorite?
I can't have a favorite. Honestly, it's like, when I'm with them in the book and I'm writing the book, like right now I'm doing Locke,
Mm-hmm.
book 4. They're my favorite. And I'm not saying that to be, like to give a blasé or whatever answer. It's true. It's like if I can't love them, I can't write them.
Right. Right.
Um, but then I kind of have to let them go to move on to the next book and the next characters, even if they're still in the series. Um,
Mm-hmm.
some probably just stay with me stronger than others,
Mm-hmm.
Vale, who was in Nash, the FMC Vale, her snark was a lot of fun. And so that was probably just fun for me to write. I don't know if it's a favorite because I like writing angst.
Yes.
But yeah, it really just when it's my favorite is the one I'm writing.
Mm-hmm. The one that you're dealing with in the
Yeah,
moment. That
yeah,
one's your favorite.
exactly. Exactly.
Okay. So you did it wasn't you did a live recently, not that long ago.
Hmm.
And I remember asking in the comments during the live if there was going to be an audiobook for the series. And you
Hmm.
announced recently, just the other day. I'm not,
Yeah,
was it yesterday?
Monday. Mhm.
So,
Yes.
so congratulations, one.
Thank you. Thank you.
And so what is that process? Like, what can you say in regards to that process as far as not who the narrators are, but just like how you pick your narrators for any of your books?
Oh, wow. Well, I am excited that I'm working with Podium again. They approached me and wanted to
Mm-hmm.
make the series. And so it is definitely a collaborative process, which actually I really
Okay.
enjoy. Because I'm kind of a big fan of more than one brain on something, like
Mm-hmm.
talents in a room make something better. And so I just got them the first 2 books, and then you have to go back through and so as you're writing a book, you I mean, I'm better about thinking, hey, how will this sound in audio?
Mm-hmm.
And you do have to go back through this technical stuff like dialogue tags, like if you have to make sure that they know who said what, you know
Right.
so I'm in that process. But I actually, funny enough, and once I finish talking to you tonight, I'm going to talk to Sam, who's helping me on casting some of these narrators, like the
Mm-hmm.
names that we want to pitch. It's a complicated issue also of like who's available when. You know, that
Right.
that dictates a lot. Because some of our top favorites are booked out for years. Years.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and so it's just kind of like, well, we don't want to wait that long. So, and you kind of also want to give an opportunity for some emerging voices or people who,
Mm-hmm.
because you can't have the same old people. Like I hear certain voices now and I hear only the character that I associate them with originally. I have the
Mm-hmm.
hardest time hearing them as someone else. So there's that when it comes to casting. I'm an audiobook person myself. So,
I love a good audiobook.
oh, I do too. Oh, nothing is better than an audiobook when you're doing a road trip. Mm-mm.
Right?
Yes,
Right?
yes.
I take the long way home just so I can continue to
Yes!
listen to the audiobook.
Me too. Me
I'm
too.
like, I'm like, oh, there's traffic. This is great.
Yeah, it's like
Mhm.
give me a red light.
Yes, yes. And me being an audiobook girly, I recently had Joe Arden. He had
Mhm.
reposted one of my, and then he said my name, and I lost my shit at work. Oh,
Oh, yay. Yay.
yeah.
One
I,
of my favorite OGs is Troy Duran is one of my favorite. I love his stuff. Um, he did Pen Pal.
oh, you know what? I tried to listen to Pen Pal,
Hmm.
um, and it was the story, not the narrator. I was just like,
Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
yeah. I was like, it's
Yeah.
not grabbing me,
Yeah.
but
She's
I
one
love
of
the
my favorite
author.
authors. Yeah, she's one of my JT Geisinger is one of my all-time.
Yes.
I want to be her when I grow up. But and maybe it was because it was one of my first audiobooks, but there was just something about, and he does a lot of her books. It was
Mm-hmm.
something about I mean, and and it's such a personalized thing, isn't it? Like
Yes.
it's just like reading audiobooks are the same way. You're gonna certain voices are gonna really
Mm-hmm.
other ones you're not gonna connect to, and you can't, and it's nothing personal. You know, you can't. It's not their fault.
Exactly.
Um, but I love them and I love like doing both. You know, and when it
I
comes
love
to
it.
like, yeah, I'm excited. And obviously, it won't not, they won't start coming out till 2026 at some point, but we're working on them. So yay!
I have a question for you, and then we're going to get into a rapid fire before we wrap
Oh,
stuff up.
okay.
So, a question that I have for you is, do the way that some of your readers feel in regards to your books, does
Hmm.
it sometimes influence your writing, like what you're going to do next with a character? So if they're like, oh, we didn't like this, we didn't like when they're doing their reviews and things like that, does that influence
Oh,
you at
that
all?
is such a good question because the honest answer is yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
Because first and foremost, I am so lucky to have readers, and I mean like literally like you,
Mm-hmm.
like people who have been there. I'm sure what I'm writing you love, and so it's like thank you. So if you come to me
Mm-hmm.
and say Kelly X, Y, or Z, I'm listening.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like I'm listening.
Yes. Yes.
I would never hold the expectation that you would like everything all the time. And
Mm-hmm.
but if you overall like we're just connected, you know, it's just like we
Mm-hmm.
all like certain musicians, we all like certain, you know, whatever. And so I would listen. A random person
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
who if and I try not to go down the rabbit hole honestly of too many online reviews
Mm-hmm.
because you know, I guess I'm lucky to be older and in doing some of this too. I have a thicker skin. It is
Mm-hmm.
impossible that everybody is going to like you. It is impossible.
Very true.
And then the more popular you get by the law of average, the more you're going to get detractors, right? And so a random person here or there, I don't listen to so much. I try not to put too much credence in that. But somebody who's very, very loyal to me, who has very strong feelings, I guess the best way to say is I'll consider it.
Okay.
You know, like I'm willing to listen and I'm willing to think about it. If I still have a strong feeling about it, then I'm gonna go with my gut. But like, I don't know if you heard the backstory real quick about Sire, that I have like my team of like just a handful of like alpha beta readers. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
there was a schism because without spoiling it too much, the big question was how spicy should I go? And a couple were like, don't go too spicy, do this. And then, but the majority, it was like a 3-2 split. The majority, which was hell. The majority was like, no. And then I had like long emails. God love them. And I mean that.
Oh,
God is ever, thank you that somebody cares that much means so much to me.
right.
They were like advocating for their particular opinion. Um, and I had to walk away and I wrote both and I gave them to a whole new group of people.
Mm-hmm.
Like two different versions, which one do you like? And again, I got a little bit
Nice.
of a split. Um, but ultimately I was like, I have to go with, and that actually that was the one time where I went more with my readers than my heart. Um, I
Okay.
because I was a bit more inclined not to make it as spicy, but they had very compelling reasons why. And it was more not for the spice factor, it was more about if you have fewer people, the emotional connection
Mm-hmm.
becomes more salient. And they were a bit concerned that it would
Okay.
detract from the MF,
Mm-hmm.
which is the main romance,
Right.
to only have it MMF, right? But
Mm-hmm.
if it's wound up being, spoiler alert, okay, if it wound up being MF, they're like, oh, we're not worried that he's like into them. Well, he's into them, but he's not like into them.
Right.
So that was a very legitimate point. And as an author, I'm like, I know in my heart how much, in this case, Sire loved Ren so much and she loved him. But I was like,
Mm-hmm.
they're not threatened. But they're like, yeah, but as readers, we don't know that. Like, you have to convince us.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that she loved him just the way that he was.
Yes.
I
Yes.
do. I love that.
Hmm.
And I love that he loved her.
Yeah.
It was, the mom, yeah, I want her
I
backstory.
do too. I do too. Well, you know that there's a more, and it's just more of a hot, spicy kind of story of Nadine on my website. But for those, it's free. It's just kind of like a fun little thing.
Mm-hmm.
I am torn about ever really doing her whole story. I've tried to have it be like the B plot, and
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I love her. I love writing this like, you know, the head of the mafia is the woman.
Is a woman, and it's so
Yeah,
fucking boss. I love
yes,
that shit. I'm like,
yes.
oh, this
Yes,
this
and
is what we
she's the
need.
boss. Yeah, and she's
Yes.
so, and the way her sons, why they respect her and how they respect her, it's just like I just love it. So yeah, I have so much fun, right? Yeah, and then what I love is that she's the queen, but then you got all the
Mm-hmm.
other queens. Each one of them will
Yes.
hold their own. I will not write. You better call me out if I ever write a weak FMC. You better drop into my DMs and go, "What's this bitch doing?" I'm so sorry. I don't think so.
Oh my god. And I will.
Okay,
If it
good.
ever got to that, I would
Yeah,
definitely drop in
yeah.
there.
Well, you would be. I would listen to you. I'd be like, "Toya said not to do this." I'm like, "Uh
I'll be
oh."
like, no, no,
I better.
hell no. What is this?
Yes, thank you. And that's what I'm saying. Like, there are people who have, and I don't mean like I disrespect others, just other people I have a relationship with.
Yes.
I have a
Yes.
relationship with you. And I'm like, if I have a relationship with you, it's like, I'm going to listen to you.
There's that connection.
Yeah, absolutely.
We are going to play a rapid fire game.
Okay.
I don't want you to think
Brace
about it.
myself.
I'm gonna just ask some questions. I have some questions ready, and
All
you're just
right.
gonna answer.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay.
So, lights on or off in a scene?
On. Always.
Praise kink or control kink?
Oh, praise.
Okay.
I'm a bit more on the praise than the control, but I like both. I like doing somebody does both. Okay.
Slow burn or immediate obsession?
Oh, slow burn. I,
Slow
I, I, s-
burn.
I know, but that's a relative thing, isn't it?
Yes. Well, I hate slow burns.
Okay, but
I
see, to
hate them, but I
me,
love them.
yeah, to me, it's like Insta is in the first 2 to 3 in the first act. Like, because you have some of those, and then the story winds up being how did they resolve that because they fell into bed, right? but I have to have a little bit of meat on the bone. They have to have some,
Yes.
whatever. Or so, and then it's just so daggum hot. But I will say, as a reader, don't slow burn me and then give me a match. I want a bonfire. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
yeah, if you gonna make
Yes.
me, you better make it good.
If you're gonna, I'm that way. If you're gonna fucking make me win, it better be explosive when
Oh
you
my
get
God,
to
yeah.
it.
Oh my
It
God,
better be
yeah.
explosive.
Yeah. But also, I will say I like being creative on what defines them consummating. Like, I like having them build. Like, for example, Sire and Ren.
Yes.
You know? I like them exploring their relationship, and I love those tense moments, not them just like jumping right to the P and the B. That's kind of fun for me. I think as a writer, that's like so hot.
I love them at the altar. Um,
God, yes.
okay, so when you are writing,
Hmm.
right? This is
Hmm.
part of my rapid fire question, and then I have one more to follow up with that. When
Hmm.
you're writing, playlist or silence?
Uh, when I'm writing, silence. When I'm not writing, I listen to a playlist to create the next scenes.
That's how you do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I will listen and while I'm driving in the car, I'll take a walk. I'll get up in the morning and make my coffee and I'll listen to a certain song to have the character start talking to me. But when I'm actually writing, I can't have lyrics because they're words
Mm-hmm.
and I can't have other people's words in my head while I'm writing. It's too distracting.
Understood.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Understood.
I actually listen to like brainwave music when I'm writing. So
My husband listens to that when he's working. He's just like, it's just
mhm.
calming.
It is, and honestly, I don't know if it's just my. I need all the help I can with my brain, so I'm like anything you got. I am trying it.
If you had to pick one word to describe Sire, what would it be?
uh, Sacrificial.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know, like because he sacrificed. I don't know. Maybe that's not the best word. I don't know. I can't. I can't pick one word. One. I don't know. What word would you pick?
I had to pick one word to describe Sire. Shit, I don't know either. Hold
See, it's
on.
hard. It's hard because it's like I don't want to spoil his story, but when we know everything, because he's the oldest son, so
Mm-hmm.
he went through a lot, and so he has this sense of duty or loyalty that you don't know about him in the beginning. You think he's like this devil character, and then you find out no, as he called himself, he's the fallen angel. So I
Can't
I
really pick one word for him. He's more like addictive sin.
mm.
Because when you look at him, that's what you want to sin. There's just
Oh,
no
you mean,
way.
oh, so you're looking at the model. I love my models, but I don't think of them when I'm writing the characters. It's just
I kind of figured that. I kind of figured that. But when I'm reading, that's who I see.
I'd love to know which one do you prefer? I had a whole conversation with somebody because some readers they don't want to know they like the discrete or the non-character covers because they want the character in their head themselves, and so they don't like having the model covers. What do you like?
I like having the model covers. It
Hmm.
just kind of gives you an idea to me of what it is you're looking at because the way that they are described, like your model has tattoos,
Hmm.
and so does Sire. And he
Hmm.
has them everywhere. And it's like, and so does Sire. So it's like, okay, in my mind, I can picture what these tattoos look like based off. I don't have to necessarily look at his face,
Hmm. Hmm.
but his build is
Hmm.
kind of the build that you describe. And so I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, so
Yeah,
this is what we're
I
going
feel
with.
that. I feel that. I mean, for me, like I already had the character, I knew the model, so I did
Mm-hmm.
base some characters, like, specific things you can't deny about the cover,
Right.
So then you kind of get creative and think, what's a backstory I would want to create, do about that. I don't know these nice men I don't know them personally,
I
but
met that model.
oh, Callum,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's a sweetheart. He
He's
seems
a
like a
sweetheart.
sweetheart. Yeah, he seems like an absolute sweetheart, and I bet it's a surreal experience for him.
And it's just, I was like, oh, hi, hun.
Yeah. Yeah, he seems like he's actually been really, really sweet to me online. But yeah, it's a weird process as an author, but if you do know the cover, I think it's important to reflect your cover because you're going to drive
Mm-hmm.
your readers crazy if you don't. Uh,
Yeah.
but I appreciate that some people like to, kind of conjure the character themselves. They don't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get that. I get that. So it's really hard as an author kind of knowing which one to do. And I know some people do both, but at one point you can only really put, like, for an audiobook, for example, it's like, what are you going to put front and center? Because you can only have one
Right.
cover.
Yeah.
So I guess I kind of, yeah. But you walk into bookstores everywhere and there's no model covers anymore.
That's true. Unless you
Yeah.
go to the bookstore near me, because I
Oh,
have a used bookstore and they have everything in there.
oh, do they? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Mm-hmm. They have everything in there. You just kind of look like, oh, these people
hmm
would, yeah. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you joining me. This
This
has
was
been a whole
fun.
lot of fun.
hmm
For my listeners, if you have not yet read Sire, if you have not read any of Kelly's book, this is your sign to do so.
Oh, thank
She is absolutely amazing. She is
thank
the queen of smut for a reason. You are welcome. And
you.
y'all know how much I love my smut books. I do not play when it comes to my smut or my spice or anything like that. If it's not a level 4, 5, or higher, it's probably not the best for me. So,
I'm the same way too. That, what's that favorite? I have it at home, Toni Morrison. If I'm completely not doing it right, but it's like, if the book you want to read is not out there, you have to write it.
yes.
I'm paraphrasing respectfully. But I'm the same way. So thank you, because that's what I'm saying, like kindred spirits. Because when you meet someone, you're like, I want to read, I write what I want to read, and then you like
Mm-hmm.
it too. It's like, yeah, absolutely. So thank you. That is a true honor. I'm not BSing. That's an honor. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You are so welcome. I appreciate you joining me. This has been a
Mhm.
whole lot of fun.
Yes.
And hopefully we can talk again. I'm hoping that you do a Wild and Windy, or I can just make it to another book event. That would be
I
great.
will be. I'll be in Kinkinink in Dallas. I'll be at Romance Era in Charlotte. I'll be at Tennessee LitCon 2020. I teach, so it's hard to do some events.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I am going to be in the Midwest in 2027, but I forget which one.
You let me, wherever you're going to be, I'll be there.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's an honor. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.